Hey everybody. So the reason I'm making this specific video today is because one of the guys who subscribes to my channel, he's also got a YouTube channel called Wonder What's Next. He asked me an interesting question. I know that he drives currently a Super Duty. I can't recall if it's a 250 or a 350 single rear wheel truck. And he asked, what's the comparison between driving that as around town versus driving a dually? And because I had 2011 F-250 that I drove around town. It was a crew cab with the short bed, 4x4 FX4 package. I have a pretty good amount of knowledge on this. Now, the other piece is that my current truck is also a crew cab, but it has the 8-foot bed versus a 6.5-foot bed that my previous truck had. Plus, it being a dually is arguably 2 feet wider than the truck I had. So, in an attempt to answer the question, I am going to kind of explain what I was told prior to getting my dually. You know, a lot of folks said, well, you're not going to be able to pull through drive-thrus anymore. You're not going to be able to go through narrow tollways in some cases, which that was absolutely false. And it's going to be almost impossible if you're going to go to Lowe's or Walmart or anywhere you might go shopping to get the truck into a parking spot. What I've found is that it's really no more difficult. I don't have any problems backing into spots. Actually, if you own a long pickup truck, that's pretty much how you live your life, learning how to back into parking spots. However, where you do have to be more cautious is just with the width of the back fenders in regards to where other people's doors may be or where posts may be and things like that. So, the first time we took our fifth wheel out with the truck, the spot that we were in at the RV park we were at didn't have a dedicated spot to park your tow vehicle. And we essentially had to just wiggle the tow vehicle in on the slip next to the RV, and that was kind of difficult. Well, it was real dark outside, and by the time I had to make a grocery store run, and by the time I got back to the RV, it was real dark. And I was trying to pull in right next to where the front of the RV is. And I had a passenger with me, my uncle, and he was out kind of spotting me. And at the last second, I hear him kind of banging on my back fender, telling me to stop. And I stop. And when I get out, there's a 4-foot black pole for a satellite dish that is literally maybe a millimeter or 2 millimeters. You would be hard-pressed to fit a piece of paper between the gap of it and my rear passenger fender. And it's pitch black. You can't see the thing in a dark RV park at night. And I almost took out my fender, or at least damaged the pole and my fender, simply because I didn't see that pole there. And even when I pulled up, it was so dark that I still couldn't see it. So, you know, that's something you could run into with virtually any truck. However, with the backup camera I had on my previous truck, I would have been able to see that pole. The challenge with the current truck I had was because it was on the very far outer stretch of my viewing angle, but still close enough that it could have damaged my fender. If I was just a hair over, literally, I probably would have caused, you know, hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars of damage to the back fender, back wheel cover, or tire cover of the back panel of my truck. So that's kind of an example of things you just have to pay attention to a little bit more when you drive a dually. Some of these dualies have such large fenders, like the Ram, that they really conceal anything else around them. And that's one of the reasons why I like the fenders on the back of my year, make, model of Super Duty, is that I still get a ton of visibility around it compared to some of these other fenders. Also, when you, like I said, I referenced earlier, if you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you're backing into a parking spot, or pulling in forward to a parking spot, whatever your options are, you have to keep in mind that even though the fenders only protrude out a little bit less than your actual mirrors on the side, they still really can restrict the walkway in between vehicles. So if you have kids, if you need to, you know, go shopping somewhere, if you're pulling into a parking garage and you're pulling into relatively narrow parking slips, it's not that the truck won't fit. It's that if the truck does fit, your neighboring vehicles on each side of you may not be able to get into their cars because your fenders are blocking their doors. That's another reason why I prefer to back into every spot I go to, simply because your overhang for the back of the truck is greater than the front overhang you have. So if you back in and you go as far back as you can all the way to the stop, your fenders will generally be clear of the doors of the vehicles beside you. I would highly recommend, though, if you don't prefer backing into parking spots, don't get a dually. It would be a pain. It would be very difficult to do. Not difficult per se, but it would be difficult to have clearance on each side of the truck if you're in a tight parking spot. And the reality is a lot of other people just don't pay attention. And the last thing you want is someone to be backing out of a spot and take out your back fender simply because they weren't looking or paying attention. Anyways, I hope this video has been helpful. Again, it was for my friend, Wonder What's Next, because he has his own YouTube channel. Again, I would advise you to subscribe. I'll try to put that in the description as well. And if you enjoy my channel, please like and subscribe. Thank you.